all of you. If you want to make public comment, please fill out a speaker slip. It looks like this. You can get it over there by our deputy. Fill it out, hand it to our city clerk, and you'll be allotted 3 minutes to make comment. If we can get a roll call, please.
Councilmember Cundiff.
Here.
Councilmember Garcia.
Here.
Councilmember Molina.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Manley.
Here.
Mayor Cervantes.
Here. For the record, our city manager is here, city attorney is present, city clerk Gertis, our finance director Reed is here, our community development director, Lucia, public works superintendent, Kyle Coney, welcome. All right, and we have our city engineer, there he is, present. Our deputy fire chief is not here, Shaw. We have our battalion chief in his place, welcome. And then our sheriff captain is also present, Escobar. So, Councilmember Cundiff, would you please do us the honors?
Stand, remove your cover, place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I have 2 speaker slips for general communications from the public. So at this time, we're going to call Joyce McIntyre.
This is on now? Yeah, oh, it is. Thank you. Okay, council, mayor, staff, thank you for letting me speak tonight. Joyce McIntyre, Douglas Street in Calamasa. I'm also the Yucaipa Valley Water District Board of Director for Division 5, which is Calamasa. I'm here tonight to talk about our flag and our reservoir. The Yucaipa Valley Water District staff, public works staff, had a wonderful idea for America's 250th birthday. They decided to hang a large American flag on the Yucaipa Valley Water District water reservoir on Bryant Street in the city of Calamasa. We have had many comments and thank yous for doing that. And we also had a nice comment and thank you from your city manager. He called the general manager, Joe Zoba, and thanked him for that. I appreciate that. See, that wasn't so bad. I'm very proud of our staff. This reservoir is in Calamasa, and it's for all to see when they drive by. So if anybody hasn't seen the big flag up there on the reservoir, please drive by, take a look, day or night, and I hope you will do that. Thank you.
Thank you. I agree. It's a great sight to see, and I hope it remains even past the 250th anniversary. It'd be great. Yeah, I hope so. Okay, next is Crystal Chirpin.
Hi. So thank you guys for letting me speak. This is off agenda stuff, but I heard through the grapevine that the plot on Douglas Street had been purchased. So I would like a follow-up to that. I am a resident on Douglas Street, and we moved there for peace and quiet, and so we're really concerned about what's going to be in that plot. And I think in the future, if you guys plan on doing something with it, the residents on that street need to know before a decision is made so that we can come over here and discuss the ramifications of putting something big there. Whether it's, well, not weather, but infrastructure. We sit on 2 stop signs. People already use that street like the Autobahn, but in the interim, it's very quiet. There's not a lot of people there. My kids can go up and down the street, and nothing gets stolen. So that's one of the big things. So just to follow up on that, okay?
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, so I
city
think
manager.
that's referring to the vacant lot on the west side of Douglas Street. There was a purchase of there. But as of right now, staff has not received anything formal as far as plans for that property as of now. So we believe that'll probably be a long process. There'll be plenty of notice that would go out on that. And, depending on the type of use that's proposed, it'll follow the municipal code, whether that means, how that goes to the planning commission, council, what have you, depending on the ultimate use and what the municipal code says as far as how that is to be treated. So we'll follow that.
Thank you, sir.
But like I said, because we haven't been submitted anything yet, we don't anticipate it'll be anything anytime soon.
Okay, with that, we'll move on. Staff, is there any revisions, modifications, anything need to be polled?
No, Mayor.
No? Council, anything you'd like to poll for consideration? Yes?
Yeah, I'd like to pull, I'm froggy today, item 6.
Okay, we're going to poll item 6 per Councilmember Molina. Anyone else pulling anything? No? All right, can I get a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion that we approve items 1 through 9 with the exception of item 6 as presented and waive the full reading of the ordinances.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, that's 5-0, and I'm going to hand it over to you, Councilmember Molina.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank staff for this clarification on travel and meeting policy. I think it's really important for us as a unit, all council members, to understand our travel policy, and that helps us in networking. And the more information you have in advance, the easier it is to plan who goes to what and what's the best use of our time and funds for the city. So I just wanted to thank staff for that.
Okay, I just want to clarify too, this is just the policy itself for like documenting travel. There's an item later on the agenda that will talk about more what you're referring to. That's item number 12.
Right,
So
but I
we will,
just want to thank, I just wanted to pull it for that as well. Thank
Okay,
you. I
thank you.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
So I'll move to approve item number 6.
If I can get a second.
Second.
All right, all in favor of approving item 6?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay, that's 5-0. Thank you for those comments. Okay, at this time, we're going to have our Calamasa Chamber of Commerce report.
Well, thank you for allowing us time each month to share with you what's happening for the Calamasa Chamber. We are currently have some new chamber staff. So we're pleased to announce the 2 new additions to our chamber team. Andrea Reeves is our new executive assistant, and Katrina Chudy is our social media manager and website designer. So if you go to our website, it's been, the work has begun. It's pretty good right now. I think Katrina's probably got some more stuff that she wants to add to it. But it's exciting to see this stuff actually taking place, you know. And then I want to introduce to you Stacy Boyserank. She is our new president of the Chamber Board of Directors. So it's exciting to have Stacy there. She's got a lot of background with the Chamber and with planning and events and so forth. So we're looking forward to her leadership there. It is helping me in the fact that this month I was elected second vice district governor for the District 4L5 of the Lions Club. So I will be hopefully stepping back a little bit from chamber duties to allow me to, the next 3 years, to become governor of our District 4L5. Really excited about taking that role and looking forward to the education and training that I'll be getting from Lions Club. Their combined efforts, our new strengthen will strengthen our communication, organization, and digital presence, which is really what I'm excited about with our chamber, is a new digital presence there, communicating to all the businesses that were out there supporting them. Our membership outreach and website improvements with our new staffing structure. We initiated a full outreach effort to past and current members to update contact information. We're getting back a lot of response from that to where we're up, so we can update all their information on our website also. It's been very successful for the renewal, and the application now is directly through the website, which is significantly improving getting members. Our chamber breakfast. Yeah. Give you a little update on May 12th, our chamber breakfast. We were honored to have Mayor Jeff Cervantes as our guest speaker. He was very informative, and it was a lighthearted, great presentation. We also wanted to thank Councilmember Eric Condiff and City Manager Will Cobal for attending, along with Yeza, who's always in the background somewhere. And then the State of the City, the date was decided upon. Thank you for that. With Darlene and the mayor got together on it and decided we were going to do September 17th. It's a Thursday. And I think we're going to try for an evening event. And there's a lot of stuff that we're looking at planning into. So the City Hall and the event planning coordinators with the chamber are going to get started on that, I think, on May 21st. Yeah, so this Thursday is the first meeting for that. That's great to hear, because that gives us plenty of time, to make this thing the event that several of you council members in the last meeting shared that you would like to see this improvements on. We look forward to that collaboration with the city, as always, working together in partnership. The News Mirror quarterly ad here, they continue to do a quarter-page advertisement. We're featuring our newest member this week, the Tropicana Supermarket, located on County Line Road and Calamasa Boulevard. As you're aware, recently had a ribbon cutting. So that was exciting for that. And then our scholarship tea, our foundation scholarship tea, is May 20th. That's a Wednesday from 2 to 4. You guys all have the flyers on that. Hopefully we get some representation from the city for proclamations for these young students that are getting their awards for scholarships. It'd be nice to see all of you there. You can have a big table, and I'll put the beer in the back for you so that you don't. But I hope to see most of you there. But that's, I think, there's actually a second page. This is amazing, right? Second page. Our events committee is actively developing new community and business-focused events. We will provide details as they come around. We're really excited that this stuff is happening for us again. So, any questions from the council for the chamber?
No, thank you, Tony. As usual, very thorough, complete, lot going on. So thank you.
And next month, Stacy will be presenting because my wife is dragging me to Europe.
Oh,
So I'm just so sad. I won't be here for you guys, but that's okay.
we'll look forward to Stacy.
I'll have a German beer for you, though.
Yeah, there, please.
Thank you very much.
All right, good seeing you, Tony. Okay, so we are moving on to public hearings. Item 10 be taken by our city clerk, Darlene Gertis. Do I need to open public hearing?
Yeah, so you'd open the public hearing. I apologize, I don't have your script.
Yeah, I don't have my
It's not sitting on my desk.
notes here, so I'll need some prompting for that. But we're going to open the public hearing, and I'm going to pass it on to our city clerk.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council. Effective January 1st of 2025, AB 2561 added Government Code Section 3502.3 to the Myers-Milius-Brown Act, which is the body of law that covers collective bargaining and labor relations at the local government level. The law requires local government agencies to comply by holding a public hearing at least once per fiscal year and prior to the adoption of our fiscal year budget, and to present the status of vacancies, recruitment and retention efforts, and to identify if any necessary changes to the policies, procedures, and recruitment activities are necessary. The law also requires the city to allow recognized employee organizations or bargaining units to make presentation at the hearing. City management met and conferred with the Calumet Professional Firefighters Association president, who expressed their concerns of the impact to the department with the loss of qualified paramedic personnel that results in a strain on the advanced life support services that the department provides. The current fire department staffing within the bargaining unit has 15 authorized positions with 3 vacancies, those vacancies being firefighter paramedics. City management met with City Council Public Safety Ad Hoc Committee, and a paramedic incentive program was created. This program was approved earlier this evening under the consent calendar. This incentive program was provided to the association, and the city management received concurrence of the program from the association. It's also important to note that the personnel rules and regulations are currently in review, and any necessary amendments will be coming before you pretty soon for approval. And that concludes my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Do we have any public comment on this item?
I do not.
Okay, so I think we
You can close the public hearing.
close the public hearing. And I will now open it up for discussion among council. Comments, questions, feedback? No? All right, so are we looking for,
This is just a receive and
Receive and
file.
file?
Yes.
okay. It is noted. Thank you for that. So now we will move on to item number 11, and I hand this over to our city manager.
Yes, I'll be handling the rest of the items for the evening. So Mayor and members of the council, this program provides free lunches to children during the summer months through the USDA Seamless Summer Option Program. And the city has partnered with the Yucaipa-Calamasa Joint Unified School District on this program for a number of years. This program is proposed to run from June 9th through July 17th at Mountain View Park, excluding June 19th and July 3rd. The school district will handle meal preparation, delivery, and distribution, while the city will assist with site support, promotion, and providing a volunteer during meal service. There's no direct fiscal impact beyond existing staff time and normal maintenance responsibilities. Staff is recommending approval of the agreement and authorization for the city manager to execute it on behalf of the city. And Mr. Mayor, I would also note that Councilmember Molina has been heavily involved with this program for a number of years, and including helping coordinate volunteers and activities associated with the program. So through you, I would like to invite her to add any comments she would have as well. And that concludes my report.
Thank you for that. I am going to give Councilmember Molina an opportunity to comment.
Yes, thank you. Normally, Ann Van Dam, the administrator for the school district, comes to this meeting, but they had they're honoring principal of the year, Joe Mead, so that she wasn't here this evening. But this program is well received. A lot of children, during the summer, need food. That's the only, they count on the food at school that they get. And so it gives the parents a break for summer. Any kids who are visiting are all welcome, as long as they're all children under 18. We coordinate with the library, and our staff does popsicles in the park. I don't know if we're going to still do that this year. But the kids really look forward to this program. It's an opportunity for parents to come and get information about the city and have something fun for the kids to do. The kids eat under the pavilion, so it's cool. We always get the first lunch served. It's usually, the lunches are usually served at our site, the community park in Yucaipa, which is a very large site, but it's later in the day, and we have the best shade. So the kids like coming to ours. And if the kids miss a lunch at one of the sites that's closest to them, they're welcome to go to any of the other sites. So it's a great program, but a lot of kids take advantage of that during the summer. So I'm proud that we do that. For some kids, that's the only entertainment they get during the summer. So anyway, I'm proud to be a part of that, and the school staff is very, very good. They brought us, I think, the signs today to put up in the park, and it's in English and Spanish, and it's a great program. It's a great collaboration of, it's just school food, but still, kids don't care. They already know the menu, and they love it. So thank you. I'm happy that the staff does what they do for these kids during the summer. That's all that I had to add. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Other comments, questions on the summer lunch program? Yeah, please.
I just want to echo what Linda stated. I know I participated on some feed during the summer, and it is a good program. And a big shout out to the nutrition services of Chukai Plain Calimesa Unified School District. They go out and beyond. They do what they do during the summer, especially during the heat, because it is one of the hottest seasons of the year. And just looking at the family and the kids, that they're always looking forward to having a meal and everything, and then just kind of gathering the community all together at the parks or the other locations. It's a big thing. So yeah, big shout out to the Calimesa Unified School District for that.
Yeah, it's a good partnership, and it's been, I've attended it in the past. It's Popsicles in the Park, and the kids love it. Yeah. Yeah, how many years have we been doing this now? It's been, well, predate? Longer.
I think it's 2017. I think it was the first time that we participated.
Yeah, so 9. Well, great. So we need a motion here. If somebody, please.
I'll second that.
Is that sufficient? Going to read the title?
No, just
Okay.
take the vote.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that is 5-0. Okay, so city manager, I'm going to hand it back to you for item 12.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, this item is to discuss the city council travel and budget allocation. And so this item was first discussed during the April 27th council budget workshop, at which time the council directed staff to bring the matter back for further discussion, which we're doing today. Historically, the city has budgeted travel funds by individual council member with slightly higher funding allocated to the mayor. While the city budget itself is not formally distinguished between council members, the city clerk's office has always tracked travel expenditures separately by a council member for administrative purposes and for reporting purposes. We report that on a monthly basis to the council. As part of the proposed fiscal year 26-27 budget, staff has updated the total council travel and conference budget to $15,000, which would increase the allowance overall. This item is before council tonight for discussion and direction regarding how the council would like those funds administered moving forward. Options could include continuing the current practice of allocating funds by individual council member, designating attendance for certain conferences or events, creating a shared pool approach, or another method as directed by the council. Staff has also provided a list of common events and conferences historically attended by council and the approximate cost for those events for reference as part of your discussion. With that, staff is available for any questions or direction from council. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I am going to open it up now for council discussion. Who would like to make a comment on this item first?
If you can bear with me, I'm sinus.
Appropriate for you to open our discussion since you brought this item.
This is an important aspect of the work that the council does. It's very important that we network and get to know other organizations and attend and have Calimesa be seen at different regional events. And in the past, not many people attended events, but State of the City, the normal, they're all listed here, all the annual events. And so it's important that we do that. And I think that by spelling it out, I know I've talked about maybe having some items be taken out of the individual travel budget and be just a regular event that the city covers. But it gets paid no matter what, whether we attend or have it in our individual budgets or in the city budget. But I'm happy to see that that we're all actively, going to these events and representing the city. It's important for us. We're a small city, and we're penalized and blessed by being a small city in so many ways. But I think getting out there and networking and going after whatever dollars we can is very important. And so, as well as getting to know, the other electeds in the county. So however we do it, I really don't have a personal choice other than I'm glad that everything is spelled out here, and they're all important events. And the city's represented well, I believe. I think we've done a really good job in that area. So I'll leave it up to you all if you have any specific comments about this item.
Thank you for those comments. Appreciate that. Do we have any other general remarks? Councilmember Cundiff?
Thank you, Mayor. So this item, there may be times throughout the year where we attend, different chamber events or State of the City events or Cal Cities events. And depending on where they're at and how much they cost, that'll dwindle down the allocated funds that we have. And then if we decided to go, for those of us that are newly elected, which would have been Councilmember Garcia and myself, last year, the annual Cal Cities event that was in Long Beach, well, that was a very expensive event. So if you went to that would pretty much deplete a good portion of the cost and then put it back on us to take from somebody else that hadn't used any of their funding or asked the city to find funding somewhere else for it, right? So to try to alleviate that, if there's some way that we don't necessarily all have to go to it, but if we decide, hey, this is a good event, a couple of us went last year, so maybe we only send 2 this next year, something like that, and we decide who that may be ahead of time, just for planning purposes, then I think it gives the city the flexibility to budget for that, as well as us to put that in our schedules. So I like that we're talking about it. I like that it's something that the city can hopefully budget a little more money for so that we can accommodate those things. And then, of course, there's some events that aren't listed here that may be in Sacramento. I know that there was a Cal Cities event that I was on the policy committee for that I didn't go up to Sacramento for this year because it would have cost airfare, it would have cost hotel, it would have, it's been a big chunk of the monies that are allocated to us. So if we are able to, looks like we've already come up to what, 3,000 a person, it sounds like. Is that correct, Will?
Yeah, so that's basically what it comes out to. If we want to continue the practice where the mayor gets a little bit more, we'd have to cut the other ones a little bit accordingly. But we are upping the total budget amount so that there is a little bit more to be allocated per person. So that's just basically, we wanted to give the council that information so you kind of know what we're planning for. And then if you guys want to talk about how you want to allocate that accordingly.
Are these the updated amounts?
Well, the amounts that are shown here are just the approximate cost for these, for each of these individual events. They don't necessarily tie to the budget. We just wanted to have this for informational purposes. But the amount that we put in the budget is we're going to propose for the budget is $15,000. So that's the total budget.
Right, because currently it's set at $2,050 per council member, right?
Correct.
Previous, and $2,550 per.
Yeah, so
mayor.
if we do the math on that, 20, 41, 82, it's about a little over 10,000, right? About almost 11,000.
Yeah, so we're roughly upping it 500 per council member, 700. My question was, when were these initial amounts set, the $2,050 per council member and then the $2,500? Were they set when we were founded?
Back in the 80s?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, because
Yeah, those have been the rates for quite some time, many
Okay.
years. Yeah.
Because we recently updated council stipends in line with inflation, because those hadn't been updated for almost 40 years. So I'm wondering what these numbers would be also adjusted for that.
Probably, well, I mean, I think if it's set in 1990,
Yeah,
then it's probably about triple
yeah. I
now,
mean,
roughly.
don't necessarily need to triple it, but maybe something,
Yeah, and that's my point is, if I go this year, if I planned on going to the end, Cal Cities event, that's a good part of that money. And, if there's anything else, then either I gotta not go or ask you guys, ask for some way to accommodate that money that way. And so it'd be nice if Maybe some of those events we're budgeted for, or the city can allocate for that, but not necessarily allot it to us, but it's a pool there, so we're not.
Right, in case it's needed.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think it'd be counterproductive to have all 5 of us go,
Sure.
or 3 or 4 of us go to an event, when I think it's fair to say 2 of us could benefit from that and bring the information back. That's just my suggestion on that.
Yeah, Councilmember Molina.
I thought of something that I forgot to say. So I think we had talked about in the past a couple of times, not formally, but because we have newer councilpersons, I've been on longer and I've gone to many of these events, but I think it's important that when there is going to be travel and one of us or 2 of us are representing the city, that we should be, before that travel happens, we should discuss that trip, and so that there's a uniform, so that whoever's going gives, represents the council and not just goes to an event. I think that's very important. I just thought I'd throw that in. We should, really know what's happening and then get a read back when that person
I think
comes
that's a
back.
fantastic idea,
Thank you.
Councilmember. I think we need to come up with a calendar, if we can have the approximate. I know some of these, we don't know when these State of the Cities are going to be, but if we have an approximate, we know when they're going to be, we can come up with a calendar. And I think, Councilmember, kind of this was your idea, that maybe we sign up in advance or tentatively have a couple people at least assigned to all covering these events, so that we have coverage. I think that would be appropriate way to do it.
Yeah, and then there may be events that pop up that we don't account for, that the city manager may get, or the city clerk may get, or one of us may get, that we can go to. And then we can bring that, or let them know, or let us all know, so we can say, hey, this is a good event. I think a couple of us should go to this, then decide at that point to go or who's going.
I think that's a good idea. Councilmember Garcia, Mayor Pro Tem, comments?
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Tim, yeah.
Yeah, I'll jump in here. I think some of my concerns, I guess, about trying to schedule it all out, I think is a little more challenge. I'd like to have a little more freedom and flexibility. Typically, we don't all end up going to the same events, but sometimes I think like the one we're talking about for the council member, the Cal Cities, the major event, where it is kind of, I guess, partially for some of the newer council members, and I went when I first came on, but there's a lot of good training. That's, I think, one of the best events that's put on. And so it's updated and ongoing to stay current with policy as it changes every year and new laws. So it's a lot of good training, so I wouldn't want to necessarily prevent somebody from going if maybe 3 of us would want to go, or 4 maybe. And I don't think that's, I want to prevent that from happening if the schedule work out. It doesn't always work out where we all can do that. But I would be more in favor of just, if we need to allocate a little bit more money so that we can, I don't have a problem with trying to schedule stuff. For me personally, it's a little more challenging to try to do that. So I end up planning that far out ahead. And then to limit myself, I'd rather just have the flexibility and freedom to go and do those things, so we don't have to just only 2 can go and nobody else can go. I think it'd be challenging to do it.
So it sounds like you'd be more in favor of having just a larger amount for us. So if we all decided to go to one event, then that would be fine.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with scheduling. If we want to cover stuff, we want to have representation at different events and have a conversation about things. My only concern is just to limit people from going if they so choose to go. Then we should have a certain amount of fun for ourselves. As far as training, something more of the training side of it. Hey, there's some good topics that are going to be covered at this conference. I went last year, but there's some new stuff this year, and I want to go. So I want to have the option. I want to have the flexibility to be able to do that on my own. That's also. I'd be in favor of bumping it up a little bit because it is very low, and some of these major events that I think are very beneficial are getting more costly. So it'd be okay, and we typically don't use all of that.
No.
Anyways, so
It's just nice to have.
and if we still can't take it from each other, a little bit larger, and if I don't use it all, then happily hand it to somebody else that wants to go to different events. So I think we can maintain that same strategy as we have. That's all I have. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is a little bit of disagreement on whether or not we should do a calendar and try to plan out everything in advance. Maybe we can come to some sort of agreement on maybe the big events, and then some of the small ones, we can be a little bit more flexible. But I know Councilmember Garcia, you had some comments as well.
Yes, I got a few of them. Just want to echo what Sean was saying as well too. And the city attorney can jump in for recommendations for additional policy language to ensure equal access and consistency treatment for all current and future council members regarding conferences, training, and regional meetings. And same thing, everybody should be treated equally. And if you want to attend, it will be your own individual decisions to attend instead of getting the majority of the votes of who's going to be attending and who's not going to be attending. I prefer just increasing our budget just for that same reason as well. And it's just based on the current council and in the future council members that will come along. We need to make sure that we have a pretty strong policy and structure in place for future council members. That way we can avoid going back and changing policies and stuff as well too. We got to make sure that our foundation and structure is strong right now based on the decisions that we're making today, because it will affect the future and it will do a domino effect as well too. And then just more of the discussion to establish clearer transparency and accountability standards for the public travel expenditures while still preserving the independence of elected officials to represent the city. And then if we could clarify whether, which will be either Will or Steve, for elected officials travel and attended to be administrative for compliance and budgeting purposes only, rather than discretionary over whether a council member may attend. And just more, my goal is to simply to ensure all council members, both current and future, are treated fairly and consistently while maintaining transparency, fiscal responsibility, and equal opportunity to represent the city through regional collaboration and professional developmental opportunities.
Yeah, thank you for those comments. I don't see any reason, and you guys can let me know what you think about that the mayor should necessarily have more funds. Maybe it should just be more allocated evenly across. What do you think?
No, when you're mayor, you're the face of the city. I mean, we all have equal power, but you go to more events and you make presentations, and so I think you should
So
have
you
more
do see
I think
more
it's
reason.
yeah, I just see that as just the way it is. You're going to be invited to.
And it's
like
true,
when
you are, yeah.
I went to more meetings than I thought I would be going to, the water meetings and such. So I think it's appropriate that the mayor has a little bit larger of a budget. It doesn't mean you have to use it, but I think you have the flexibility. And that goes for all of us. It's the flexibility, like Edgar says, it's the representation, the opportunity. My only thought is that we, as a unit, all have the same, especially if it's a regional meeting, not so much Cal Cities. Cal Cities is kind of the same thing every year. New trainings come up, guest speakers and what have you. But other meetings, RCTC, SCAG, those other organizations that do general assemblies, they're just as important. You get good information there. Maybe not so much as important as the people that you meet there. You get to talk to the counterparts, throughout the region. But we should all be versed on what the council vision is, and that's all I was saying. It's important that we all know what meetings are coming up. We may have some individual thoughts on, what we should discuss. Not so much discuss, but just know what our city, our plan is for the city. Most of it is getting funds, bringing money into the city.
Yeah.
And so that was my only comment.
No, that makes sense, Councilmember. Thank you for that perspective. So our city manager said that if we were going to adjust these numbers for inflation, it'd be triple, but that'd be a little much, in my opinion. I'd like to hear what you have to say about that. But what if we took these numbers and doubled them and took a council member as, to 41? Mayor would be 51? I'm just throwing that out there as a starting point for the discussion. You guys tell me what you think. It's too much, too low. We'll go from there.
I quite honestly don't mind at that point. The whole reason for saying what I said earlier was just so that way we're being somewhat responsible with the monies that we have allocated, you know, because if we tear through it and there's no more money, then what?
Right.
You know, so it's not to try to hold any one of us down or any future council members down from going. It was just it just seemed that it may be a little more productive.
Yeah.
To do it that way, but I'm not opposed to us.
Because I don't like the idea of having to rotate
Yeah.
monies necessarily, because then that kind of puts pressure on someone who doesn't, and then if that person doesn't have any because they
Yeah.
gave it, then it just seems, yeah, putting someone in a tough spot, right? But, I don't know, other thoughts?
I'll just throw it out there as far as I think we also said about 15. So say if we just added 1,000 more per person, so if it made it even 20, which I think is just slightly less than what the mayor had kind of thrown out.
Yeah.
But
So
and even-
4,000, is that what you're suggesting?
I don't know if you wanted to separate, give the mayor a little bit more, if you're going to break that 20 apart, how you know, as far as how you'd allocate, how much more you want to allocate the mayor, but as far
Like
as,
the mayor do 5,000, then everyone else get 4,000?
That'd be 21.
21.
Can we afford that?
Well, that was going to be one of the points I was going to bring up. Remember, this budget number is not in a vacuum, right? So for every dollar that we add to this is a dollar that can be spent somewhere else. So I think whenever we have a discussion like this, we can't look at it in a vacuum. We need to look at it holistically as well. So, you know, we're not talking about backbreaking amounts, but I think our margin, because of some of the decisions we're making for staff, is going to be pretty thin. So just keep that in mind that our margin is small to begin with, so including this 15,000 that we increased it to. Just something to keep in mind when we go forward. So we make that adjustment, you know, it could affect what the numbers look like on the bottom line.
Maybe we could look at it on an individual basis, where if something should come up that would be beneficial for our city to attend, that as long as the council is in agreement, funds are available, not so much a specific amount.
Well, I was gonna make a recommendation of maybe doing like a hybrid approach, separating out the large events from the small stuff, and you have a small kind of discretionary stipend amongst each one of you to attend like the local events, because you can see in that chart, right, there's a big difference between those 3 large events and the rest of the events, right? There's a big gap. And so if we want to maybe budget a certain amount for those individually, and then when registration comes up or is about to come up for those conferences, we can agendize it for discussion. Council can decide, you know, at that point, who's able to go, who would like to go, and just kind of do it on an ad hoc basis at the time, because then, you know, that alleviates Councilmember Manley or Mayor Pro Tem Manley's concern about trying to schedule things 2 hours in advance, but we can still get in and register things on a timely basis. It does also give clarity and direction for staff, because then we know exactly who to register, who's registering, and all of that stuff in advance, rather than trying to scramble at the last minute, because we find ourselves doing that sometimes on those things. And then that way the council can discuss it, you know, on a per event basis, and we'll just maybe allocate. We'll just do the equivalent of the high amount maybe for, you know, 2 people per those events, or maybe 3, and then have a small amount, you know, per person for just the small events that could come through. I don't know if that's maybe something the council would want to consider.
Comments on what was just shared?
I got something. I think what you recommended, Chef, I think it's actually pretty good. I'm doing some numbers right now. Of course, each council member is not going to exhaust their budget. You know, there's a lot of us, well, I'm going to speak for myself. I won't be able to attend all of them, so I might just probably spend like $600 for, you know, for the year. But I'm doing some numbers right now. We have, let's say, $4,000 per the council member. I divided that by month. It's actually $330 per month which will equal to 4,000 for the year. I was trying to do the number for you, and let's see, 5,000 divided by 12. 5,000 divided by 12 is actually $416 per month. Again, if you break it down into months, it's not bad, because we're talking about the whole budget based on the fiscal year, which is from what is it, July to July, or is it June through June?
July to June.
So July to June. So
Yeah.
kind of breaking it down like that, it's not, the numbers are not high. I know we're talking like as a whole, 4,000 sounds like a lot, but once you break it down into 12 months, it's actually way less. And again, I myself is not going to even exhaust the $4,000. And then let's say if Eric or Linda or yourself want to attend, you exhausted more than it was, you can come back and say, well, we have funds, we can definitely provide some of my funds to you so you can attend more meetings. I think that's more of an idea that I can probably see how we currently have it right now. If somebody exhausts their funds and somebody has funds, we can come back and say, well, I can give you some of my funds so you can attend the next meetings that you guys have.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that math for us. Mayor Pro Tem?
Just wanted to ask Councilmember Garcia, so was it 4,000 per person? Is that what the totals? I was trying to keep track of the numbers we're throwing around. And then 5,000 for the mayor, is that?
Yeah, I just kind of did it to the nearest 10, which is 5,000 divided by 12. It came up to $416 or 66 cents. And then for council, which is I did 4,000 divided by 12, was 333 with 33 cents each month, which a total divided by 12.
Let's throw one more number out. I'll throw one more number out here. So to come down, I guess, off of 20, we'll go to 18, bring it down to 18. That'd be 3,500 if I did my math right, and then 4,000 for the mayor.
If we go with around 20?
If 18.
18, yeah, okay.
Concerned there,
Yeah,
dropped
yeah,
a couple
that's-
thousand, so.
That's fair.
it's down to 3,500 each, and then 4 for the mayor.
It'll be 35 times 4, and then 1 at 4,000,
Which would
or
just be
45.
It's 4 even for the mayor, 3,500 each, which is, I guess, 3,000 over what's in the proposed budget
I
currently.
think that's a nice incremental step. What do you guys?
My focus, I guess, is just the information that we are able to go out and bring back to our city.
Absolutely. That's the valuable
is
piece.
key. Bringing back the material for staff, something that maybe you heard, through chatter and talking to our regional partners. Right now, everything is regional. All funding is regional. That's what they're looking at, is regional applications. And so I think if we're out there and bringing that information back to staff, that's the most important thing. And so that's really my focus on the travel. It's very important that we're out there and we're seeing. We weren't always out there. We weren't. Everything has changed. All funds are coming out of the state and the feds it's all regional. And so
Yeah, these aren't vacation dollars. These are
Right,
we're using this money to work for the city.
And yet, we have to be careful how we spend, the public funds. And so I think having this, discussion is great, because it shows that, we're really cognitive of how much everything costs, and
Absolutely.
we're not just taking vacations.
No.
I don't think any of us do that, and we're reasonable people, and I think it's important for us to do that. It's part of our job, our role. So.
If I may, if we're going to continue to allocate by council member, one of the issues we always kind of run into closer to the end of the year is if someone's allocated their funds, and sometimes we're asking for money after the fact. I think that one of the things that we maybe need to do a little more proactively is, if a attendance at another conference that you're going to go to is going to set you over, that at that point, we bring that item back for council discussion before that person is registered, so that we get permission from the council for them to overage and how we're going to handle that before it happens rather than after the fact.
Yeah.
So that would be my recommendation with that, just to make sure that we keep those costs reined in.
That's great. That speaks to your hybrid approach you were talking about, too.
So, yeah,
Please.
good discussion. So I liked what Will had to say as far as his hybrid approach. That last bit of information is pretty important, but in the event that there is, not enough time, I don't foresee that happening, but what if there was not enough time for, somebody to get registered or something like that once they realize that they've exhausted their monies? I was trying to avoid any of that by, one, the schedule, we know what we were doing ahead of time if we did something like that, and two, having some increase or some pool funds that we could spend responsibly for the city, and that was my belief and approach to this. Was I don't think we should have buckets of money, at our disposal to go to all these in every different, meeting that's out there. But to Linda's point, when we go, we bring back the information that's pertinent to us that we can share. And I get Councilmember Garcia and Mayor Pro Tem Manley's point that we don't want to limit or make it so that somebody can't go. But my perspective is, at the same time, I don't think it's necessary to send all 5 of us, to every conference out there. So,
Yeah, were you gonna?
so I think maybe staff can come up with a couple options for us. Maybe one kind of with Will's suggestion of a hybrid approach, that we can look at that, and then one with what Mayor Pro Tem Member Garcia's kind of outlined, and go from there.
All right, can we?
We could do that. I was also going to say, to your point and Councilmember Molina's point, when you report back, that's actually a government code requirement. So AB 1234 and our ethics rules, anytime that we expend funds for you to attend any kind of meeting like that, that's the time that we do city council reports, and that covers that requirement under AB 1234, as you learn in your ethics training. So that is an important thing, because the state recognizes also that we need to make sure that that anything that we're attending is providing value to the city, and so that's the mechanism we use to ensure that.
So I think what the direction is, what I'm hearing from council, and you chime in if this is incorrect, is that we want to come up with a few options that involve coming up with a hybrid approach where we can discuss in advance some of the big conferences or workshops that are going to be attended, to see who's planning on attending those, what those dollar amounts might include, see where people's travel budgets are at the time, and make, get allowances in advance of attending those and see who is attending. And then if we could get a few options that set maybe the travel budget at various amounts, maybe 15, 18, 20, and see what that looks like.
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, so I think that brings about 4 or 5 different options altogether, and I can bring those back. Probably, it'll either be the 1st or the 15th, June 1st or the June 15th, so I'll try to get one of those.
Sound good with council?
I think what we're going to, I do want to say, though, one more thing. At this point, we're going to leave the budget where it's at, because the budget's document's pretty much already prepared.
Fiscal year.
And so depending on that direction, we may ask for a budget amendment. We'll keep an eye on the budget. Maybe there's monies we can move around from other accounts to make it balance without having to ask for an appropriation at mid-year. But what we'll do is we'll keep an eye on that and address it at mid-year if needed.
Okay, Councilmember Garcia, one final point.
Yeah, and see if Will can do an additional, as well, to look into having an option to increase the budget, and then scheduling the calendar, like providing us with the calendar so we can book it in with your pilot program with it as well too, so we can get an idea if we go over. And then the ones that, like for me, I might not even attend more than 2, and then we can allocate those funds to a different council member or to this or to the city mayor as well too. That way we can kind of pre-game it, plan it ahead, because we already have the calendar itself as well, and then we can allocate transferring funds, so we increase our funds if somebody else exhausted their funds. Another thing too that I do want to kind of touch bases as well too. I know some of these conferences, the city managers are able to attend, or city staff are able to attend those conferences as well too. So it's not we have to attend those conferences. The city staff can attend those conferences as well too, because we're working daily at the operations of the city, and they're actually well-rounded and more informed of what's going on the daily basis of the operations of the city. So that's just one of the other things that I want to include with that as well too. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. All right.
Yeah, we can incorporate that as well.
Okay.
Mayor, I had one more thought, too.
Yes.
On the multiple day conferences, if like, for instance, if you're, like, we're on policy committees, Eric and I, maybe out of a 2 or 3 day conference, a policy meeting, we don't have to stay for all 3 days. We could go, like, if our policy meeting is on a particular day, maybe another councilperson would want to go the next day because of the sessions that are being presented. So that's another way of cutting down costs and spreading the opportunity for attending these conferences. Because again, you know, it's the networking that's just as important, but that's also something else to look at.
There are some conferences that offer like 1 day or partial entries versus full conference. So not all of them have that option, but some of them do. Yes, that is true. And also we can customize it also, because some of if they're in Southern California or, you know, closer to buy, you know, if you want to just drive each day, like when, for example, when Cal Cities was in Long Beach, rather than stay down there, I just drove back and forth every day because of where I live, so it was a little more convenient for me. But that's also, you know, you can always use that. That's how you can kind of use your discretion too. And it kind of plays into the item 6 that you approved earlier, which is the policy itself that does talk about, you know, the most economic form of travel and all that kind of thing. So hopefully those policies also help us kind of stretch our budget dollars a little bit more too.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone. That was a productive, constructive discussion, and we'll look forward to seeing the options at a later date. So that brings us to our final business item, item 13, and that again will be our city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this item is to discuss the pickleball hours at Mountain View Park. So we do want to talk about the, you know, since the opening of the pickleball courts at Mountain View Park, we've seen consistent community use, and staff has received requests for some users to consider expanding the current operating hours. So currently, pickleball courts are open daily from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And while the city's municipal code establishes general park closure hours from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., the courts currently operate under more limited posted hours. So staff recognizes the importance of balancing recreational access with quality of life considerations for surrounding neighborhoods, including concerns related to noise, lighting, parking, and activity levels nearby homes. Before and during construction of the Mountain View Park expansion, staff was in communication with surrounding neighbors regarding the project and park operations. In addition, notices were mailed to neighboring properties advising them of tonight's discussion and inviting public input. This item was brought forward at the request of the City Council for discussion and direction. So potential options include maintaining the current hours, expanding morning or evening hours, implementing seasonal or trial hours, or providing other direction as determined appropriate by the council. So with that, staff is available for any questions.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that, and I'm going to open it up for council discussion. Anybody want to, well, I guess I'll get this started. I was one of those who asked for this to get on the agenda. Currently, the lights are set to turn off at 8 p.m., and so I think that's a little too early. 10 p.m. Closely aligns with the city's general park closure rule, I think, as we saw in the staff report. I think making a separate time for, you know, the pickleball courts just, you know, it seems unnecessary. I think by setting it at 10, it just gives our working residents and families more evening recreation time. It supports the city's investments in the lighting that we've made, significant investments there at Mountain Park. And it just, to create a stricter time for the pickleball courts as opposed to just the park in general, it just seems unnecessary to me. So I'm going to open it up for discussion, see what you have to say and think about those comments and those options as presented by the city manager, and we'll go from there. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to confirm that we didn't get any communication or nothing written from any of the neighbors back? Okay. I did have, I guess, one question for the mayor. What about did you have anything proposed for the morning session?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. That'd be a separate discussion because I think the park times were 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. is when our municipal code says that our parks are closed, and currently it's set at 8 a.m., right? So that's...
So are you proposing essentially just keeping it exactly the same, 6 a.m. to
I would like
10?
to just keep a standard open and shut time for our parks.
Okay. I'm not opposed to that at all. I think maybe if we could do maybe a check-in on it and just open it to, it's our standard hours per the ordinance, and then maybe just check in on it, with it being early and later, to see if there's any issues after a number of, months. That'd be my
That's a good suggestion.
proposal, but I think we should definitely just roll back to those hours and take it from there.
Other comments? Yeah.
I got some.
Councilmember
So,
Condit.
the park hours from 6 a.m. To 10 p.m., I would agree with your statement that if the park's going to be open, I think that the amenities should be available to the citizens to use. Every time I've driven by the park with the new pickleball courts in it, various times of the day, there's people using it. And that's fantastic that they're utilizing the equipment that the city put out there for them. So there may be some that if they have the opportunity to get there early, may before work or get there after work. And to that point, I would also agree with Mayor Pro Tem Manley's suggestion that if we do change it to 6 to 10, that we reevaluate and see if it's interrupting with neighbors and residents around that at some point, to see if that was a bad decision. But for the most part, I think I'm in favor of doing it from 6 to 10.
Councilmember Molina.
Yeah, I was just going to ask if we extend the hours, if possibly Citizen Patrol, I don't know how many call them, I can't, my head's all full of fluid.
COPs? COPs?
Yeah, Citizen Patrol. How many,
Shifts?
yes, thank you. Couldn't think of the word, thank you. If that would be something that we could recommend, maybe give them something to do, go by the park. And I'd be curious to ask Public Safety if they see that as an issue as far as keeping people safe. I don't think we've had many issues, but I don't know, what do you think?
So as far as my experience, the extended hours, if those are the park hours, then, they should be able to utilize the parks as such. As far as a public safety standpoint, as far as issues with any type of criminal activity, I don't see an issue with that.
Yeah, we see our patrols are pretty regular. I think everybody in the community sees that and is comfortable with that, so.
Right.
But I just thought maybe it's something Citizen Patrol might be able to take advantage of and throw an extra shift in there or something.
Well, that's a good consideration. Thank you. Councilmember Garcia?
Yeah, I think it's a good idea, and then kind of following up and see with the neighboring neighbors, if they have anything to say. Well, you're pretty good, you're an expert on lighting on the parks. Will there be any concerns or issues with the lights? Because I know there's some homes around.
Well, I don't know if I'm an expert, but the lights are designed to try to keep they're LED lights, so they are really directional, so they keep the light going down, so they're designed to minimize light pollution away from the courts. Doesn't mean that they're not there, but they shouldn't be shining directly into anybody's window, for example. They may just get some of the ambient glare. The concern, the only thing that I don't know. I think the lighting isn't the biggest issue. I think it is the noise has been the biggest complaint that we get. Just because, you know, the sound of the paddles hitting the ball and everything like that. You know, so what we'll do is, you know, as we change that and, you know, like the rest of the council has said, you know, we'll monitor any complaints and we'll keep the council apprised of those concerns from the neighbors. So I'm not sure. Usually when parks open at 6 a.m., it's usually for exercisers, like people that are walking, that doesn't create a lot of noise. So I do have a little bit concerned of the 6 a.m. time, more so than the 10 p.m. Because like when you look at like construction, for example, right, they can't start till before 7 a.m. because of construction noise. There's ordinances on that. Our ordinance throughout the municipal code is a bit inconsistent in terms of noise, in terms of the things that it points out, and there's very specific uses that it points out. It doesn't say anything about noise specific to park activity, except for like loudspeakers, things like that. There's hours that are set for that kind of thing, but nothing on this particular issue that would prevent us from doing that. But it, you know, they may cite, well, you can't start construction just until 7 a.m. because of noise, and so that's my same concern here. Again, the ordinance doesn't prevent us from doing that. I'm just conveying what we may see from the neighbors.
Sounds good, thanks, Will. And I know, touching base what Linda was saying about the security, if I can recall, there's going to be discussions for cameras in that area as well too, right? With the company that we moved forward with, Summerwinds.
Yeah, so our budget does include funding for that for next year. So that's something we'll look at.
And I'm not sure with the rest of my colleagues here, but there's gates to go inside inside those gates, the doors. Would it be possible to kind of make it more like for city staff not to go there and lock it, to have those automatic?
They are automatic already. The ones at Mountain View Park are automatic gates. Only the ones at Summerwind are manual gates. We've been actually looking at that, and I know this is not really on topic, but it's a little more problematic at Summerwind, just of the way that's set up and power and stuff. But the park was designed from the beginning, because 4th Street Park, as it was originally built, had a gate, an automatic gate, and so we just kind of mirrored that on the other side when we designed this park. So those are already on timers, and so those timers can be adjusted for whatever hours we set.
Perfect, thanks.
Well, maybe we can do this as a compromise, then, given some of the feedback from Mayor Pro Tem and other council members. We can set the time to 10 p.m. for closure as a provisional period, maybe from now until our first meeting in September. And if you could collect any complaints we get from now until then, and we can review those complaints and then revisit this topic at our first meeting in September, and then make a final maybe determination then. So we'll kind of do it as a provisional period until then. Is that the will of the council maybe? Does that sound like a good compromise?
Yeah, we don't need to make a motion for that, right?
I would be more comfortable if you did.
All right, I make a motion that we alter the park hours for the pickleball court from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. And keep it provisional until our next meeting in September, our council meeting in September, to give you time to gather any complaints or any data that would cause us to change our mind on that.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. That's a fair compromise. Okay, so council members reporting on county and regional meetings and conferences. Councilmember Garcia.
Didn't attend any meetings. I do want to do a big shout out to the Riverside County Sheriff's Department for, because you guys are all part of the team with the big thing that you guys did over there. I think it was a total of 15 sex offenders that you guys arrested. Way too close to home. There's a few that were around our cities. And so I just want to give you guys a big shout out for all the hard work that you guys did, especially with the investigation and that goes behind it. And then one last thing too, two of my boys' birthdays are coming up, so I just want to say a big shout out to Luke and Eli. Happy early birthday. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Cundiff.
Thank you, Mayor. On 5/7, I attended the SCAG event in Palm Desert. Not to bore you too much with what they were trying to indoctrinate us with on some of that conversation, but there was comments made by some of the guest speakers that cities needed to do more to build homes. And I found that kind of ridiculous, as we're not the ones that build the homes. We're the ones that allocate through RENA numbers and the like, and try to make it a desirable, place for them to develop. But that seemed to be what they were pushing on that one. But for the most part, bless you. Most of the topics that they discussed had to do with the Olympics, the upcoming Olympics, and the amount of revenue that Los Angeles and Orange County were going to get, and they were even projecting it coming out to San Bernardino County and Riverside counties, which I thought was kind of odd, but it's really what they were talking a lot about. The one good thing that did come out of that was a meeting that Councilwoman Molina and I had with the Southern California Contractors Association, and it was a nice meeting to be able to talk with those guys and see if there was ways for their information as far as specs and the like, as far as projects go, for all cities to kind of be uniform with that. So we'll see what they come up with, but one of the issues that they cited was like high-speed internet or high-speed cables. There's companies that'll go out and say, hey, we'll put this in your city for free, but they'll only really go down maybe 2 or 3 inches or 4 inches, in the road. They'll carve out the road and do that, and then when the road needs to get repaved, end up tearing up 6, 7, 8 inches or more of road, and then you damage the cable. So those are potential problems that this association was trying to, make cities aware of. So it was good. It was an overall good meeting. And then on 5/12, I attended the chamber breakfast where you spoke, and Tony's gone, but he always does a great job hosting that, and chamber does a good job, getting guest speakers and stuff there. So that's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Councilmember Molina.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on Eric's comments on the Contractors Association. When I first joined Cal Cities, I knew there was another organization that was pretty similar, and that was the Contractors Group. They're mostly representing Los Angeles. And so I always thought that they were a competition to Cal Cities. But once I went to a meeting and met a couple of people. They're mostly contractors. They represent contractors, and so that's good information for cities. And so they're known for being associated more with Los Angeles business, but they're expanding. They mentioned that they're coming out to Riverside County and other counties. So I thought it was interesting. I'll start with my other comments about the SCAG General Assembly. We have to appoint a delegate, and Eric is our delegate to vote on issues. But that meeting, the annual workshop, is the pomp and circumstance is the sustainability awards, where cities, nominate their city's accomplishments, and then they have an award ceremony. So that was really interesting. The keynote speaker was good. That was on May 7th and 8th. On May 6th, I attended RTA's. I chair the Administration and Operations Committee, and their main, it's mostly routine information, but they, they offer their vehicles whenever their vehicles reach their life cycle as far as miles per the feds. They put those vehicles on a wait list, and cities have the opportunity to write in and request certain pieces of equipment. And so our city has received in the past some equipment from RTA, not recently, but has in the past. And so they basically get applications and then add those names to the wait list. And then as your city comes up, you get those vehicles. That was on the 6th. On May 13th, RCTC, their regular commission meeting, their main focus, and then not really a lot of it pertains to us directly, except that their 26-27 budget was, they opened a public hearing for discussion and comments for their budget. That runs through, they opened it on May 13th, and it runs through June 10th, when they will decide on their budget. It's like a $1.3 billion budget, something like that. On the 22nd, RTA had a special executive committee meeting. It was closed session. And then on the 26th, again, another special meeting. It has to do with funding for transit entities. Right now, public transit, rail, bus is in a turmoil, not a turmoil, is in a budget crisis because ridership has not bounced back since the COVID period. And so fares are low, people aren't riding, and so you know, with public transit, you have to ride it or you lose it. And so there's discussion between Metrolink and bus systems that they support each other, that is in crisis right now. So a lot more information is going to be coming out about that. So we don't have a transit system, so we're out of that battle, but it impacts us because, you know, we go to other cities. So that's all that I have to share.
Thank you for that report. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I did not attend any regional meetings, and that will conclude my report.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, as already noted, on May 12th, I attended the chamber breakfast. I was kind of had to went to that one. I just gave, just had to talk about myself a little bit. Not my least favorite topic, but talked about myself and gave a little update on the vision and mission of our city that we had during the recent strategic workshop. On May 13th, the next day, I got to go to what may have been, the real highlight, certainly of the week. Got to go to Calimesa Elementary and talk to a first grade class about our city and about what the mayor does. So that was a real privilege and honor. Shared some fun facts with the kids about the city. Talked about what the mayor does, of course, but then I shared some fun facts with them about our city. Told them that we incorporated in 1990. Asked them how old I was in 1990. Some of them said I was 50. I said a little less than that. They said one, somewhere in between. I told them that the population of Calimesa, asked them, what was the population of Calimesa? One kid, thought they knew 100. And I'm like, a little bit more. Next kid, 1 million. No, a little less. So that was fun. I had them, give me some feedback on what they thought the park hours should be, the pickleball court hours. Most of the kids, they thought it should be, 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock. I let them know that's a little probably too late, but, thank you for their feedback. No, it was a lot of fun, though. They were fun, and I want to give a shout-out to our staff. They made little goodie bags for all the first graders. So Chrissy, Patrice, Yesa, thank you so much for that. The kids loved it. May 15th was Crafton's graduation, so just a shout out to those graduates. Congratulations, of which my daughter was one of those, so finished her AA degree. So good job, Abby. And I just want to remind everyone that Monday is the Memorial Day event at the Desert Lawn Cemetery for the there's going to be our Veterans Memorial Day event. I forget what the exact title of it was, but yeah, that is 10 a.m. at Desert Lawn, so you want to come out for that. And that concludes my report. I'm going to hand it off to the city manager for his report.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, I just want to say you look very, very good for 86 years old. So.
Thank you.
Just a quick comment. We had announced previously that there was a comment period for the environmental document related to annexation down along Cherry Valley Boulevard. That period closed at 5 o'clock today. We received a few comments. The comments we received were expected. So those will be addressed, and then the next step on that process would be bringing it forward for public hearing for the Planning Commission and then ultimately to the City Council. Again, I'd like to remind the public, we're not proposing any new uses down there. It's exactly, it is proposed to be exactly the same. It's just a process that we have to follow in order to bring those areas into the city. We're talking about an area of approximately 340 acres altogether. So it's not, and we're not annexing all of Cherry Valley. It's just a little bit of piece close to the 10 freeway. And that will conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have no closed session items tonight, so that will adjourn our meeting at 7:20 p.m. See you at the next meeting.